Okay, we're recording. Hey, Nick, how are you? So good to talk to you. This is Nick. Sorry, I always do this with your last name.
Everyone does it, all right. Saponaro.
Saponaro.
Yeah.
And you are the CTO for the Divi Project?
I'm the CIO, so Chief.
CIO.
Similar, pretty much the same responsibilities.
Yeah, it's a lot of responsibility. And we had the pleasure to actually meet when we were in Vegas a week ago at the World CryptoCon and the Litecoin Summit as well. So that was really great to meet you and the team. I met Jeff, great people, really excited to be able to talk about Divi and have you here today. So how about we just start and you can say who, a little bit about yourself and how you got into the Divi project.
Thank you, by the way, for having me. I got involved with Divi when we launched, so I'm one of the co-founders. Before that, I was DJing and just writing websites freelance for people. And I guess it was late 2016, I was asked to do a freelance website for Divi. And that's around the time that they were writing their white paper, and that was a great opportunity for me to add some value to the company. And I was offered the co-founder position at that time, about 3 months into that process. Now I'm the Chief Information Officer, and I make sure that our tech roadmap is on track and that we are communicating to the outside world what we're doing in a way that makes sense.
Yeah, that's great. Now we did have a conversation before because we did try to do a podcast together and had some technical issues, but it's just such a great response from the community with what you're doing, and I think that says a lot for what you are creating and your team as well. I really look at the team behind projects, and I think it's a very important thing to look at. And for me, I just see a really good, solid team here, having spoken to a few of you at even meeting in public. So, or meeting in person, I should say. So what's wonderful is I've been running a Masternode, and we can just talk right about that. Or if there's something else you want to talk about, a little bit about. Why don't we start with a little bit about what the project, what it's doing with the wallet, and what a great decentralized wallet that you created.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you so much. And we did start Divi with basically the vision in mind that we would make crypto adoptable by everyone. Especially when we started the company, it was very tech focused, by devs, for devs, so to speak. And we just saw it as a great opportunity for the entire world to take control of their own finances. But it needed to be much, much easier in order to do that. So we did start with our Masternode deployment software, which we call Mochi, Masternode one-click cloud installer, which you've tried.
I like it.
Thank you. It's really important because it's a proof of concept that shows how easy crypto can be, and it also helped us to build out our network in a very, very secure way, right? So we end up seeing that over 50% of our coins, about 56% of our coin economy is actually locked up in Masternodes right now. And that creates a very secure environment for transactions to be processed. But really, that was just sort of the start for us. Really, the goal is to make an app that gives you all of the financial services you need for your daily life and for your crypto life all in one place. And that's sort of our next phase of development and what we'll be rolling out over the next year.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, and being so early that we are in the space, we're expected to see these sorts of technology come about, and you're right on it, and you're ahead of that, I think, or certainly in the lead of this type of technology that is so needed. And for, as a woman in the space here, I'm coming in with no background in high tech, and it was a lot to take in and to digest and understand. and I'm still at a very basic level, of course, but so I really, it's so welcoming to see this kind of technology. And I have a Masternode, of course, that I have been running, and it's a seamless operation for me, for someone like me in my background. So it is a one click, like you say, and I'm really happy to be using running a node on my laptop and promoting Divi. So yeah, is there anything else you wanted to add about that?
No, I mean, that's great. I mean, that is exactly our goal, right? To not just attract people who are maybe not so tech savvy, but to help them with, with our focus on design. It should hopefully basically guide users through the process of whatever they're trying to do, whether that's setting up a Masternode or in the future setting up a bank account, whatever. So I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy that it's working.
Yeah, it's you really stress the importance of owning your own keys, and that Divi doesn't keep your private keys, which I think is a gem. I think that's a great thing to promote.
Yeah, that's super important. I think for everyone who's getting into crypto, they should always be concerned with who's actually custodializing their funds, right? The whole point of crypto is so that you don't give your money to somebody else, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And the first thing so many people do is go to an exchange where that's exactly what you're doing, basically, like another bank, right?
So, exactly, and there's so much talk about that, and especially with all the exchanges, and just some of the cautions that are out there about them, and how to take that control of your own. You're basically being your own bank, so
right.
It's so nice to see Divi supporting that concept. I think it's so important.
I think that's it is so important, but it's also a lot of responsibility, right? Mm-hmm. To be your own bank and to be fully responsible for if you lose your keys, you've lost your money, so to speak. So that's something I think that needs to be solved, and I think that's why a lot of people still use exchanges, because they just don't want to be responsible for that much. Exactly. It's like having all your money in a safe at your house. If you forget the code to get in that safe,
that's it.
But those are problems that are being solved in the industry through really unique and genius methods. So I'm excited to see, in the future, how we can truly take control of our own finances.
Yeah, it's amazing. What a wonderful position to be in with advocating such a concept. I think it's just amazing. Yeah, and so with the Masternode, maybe talk a little bit about how that's used, or any of the nodes. Actually, there's 3 types of nodes, correct?
Well, there's Masternodes and there's staking nodes, and then of course you could just run a node as a wallet. Masternodes are basically, they are full node that's running a complete copy of the blockchain, and what it does is basically secures and verifies transactions. So think of it like this: if I want to send you money, I send that to the network, and my transaction goes first to the masternodes. The masternodes are computers that are out there, usually in the cloud, and they all get together and they say that the transaction is suitable, it's not malicious, and the user who's sending it, me in this case, has enough money to send to you.
Right.
Once they agree on that, then they send it to the next step, which is the staking nodes, and the staking nodes decide to add that to the blockchain, which is all just a lot of jargon to say it's a computer program that runs on your machine that earns you cryptocurrency for supporting the network.
Right. Well, you just said it all. And what other functions are there? I mean, we talked a little bit, I remember last time we were talking, you described a little bit more other functions that people can do inside the app, like when you're buying certain things, and
right.
Elaborate on that.
Right now, we're still in the sort of network building phase. So right now you can deploy your masternodes from our desktop wallet. But in version 2.0, we're calling it Divi 2.0, users will actually be able to purchase cryptocurrency with their debit card, set up bank account numbers, and store money, real money, fiat, in their in the app, as
Right.
well as use it like Venmo or Cash App or Wirex or whichever. Each country has their own sort of version now,
Mhm.
as well as set up a masternode and stake right from your mobile phone. And I believe that this sort of we call it vertically integrated ecosystem is the next step to hybridizing crypto adoption, right? I think the problem is right now you have like one of the features I just mentioned in each app that's available. Like you might have Coinbase where you can buy crypto, but then if you want to buy anything else, you have to go to an exchange. If you want to store it anywhere else, you have to get another wallet. It's really fragmented, and we're working to solve that problem by just creating one ecosystem that you can stay within. You never have to leave Divi once you're in.
Yeah, that's almost Trojan horsey, right? Where there's multiple uses. I don't know if that's the right term, but
It is a Trojan horse, especially because a lot of people look at the banking industry and say, like, we have to defeat them. And we do, for sure, have to defeat them. But we're not going to do it by running at them full force. They're always going to win because they have way more money than us, right?
mhm.
Even if all of us banded together, they would just band together with other banks, form a cartel, basically what they've done already.
Yeah.
What we can do, though, is through these sort of boutique brands, like the one that we purchased called Redivi, which is basically just a boutique financial services company, we can offer services that banks would normally offer with a lot less aggression against the customer. I mean, how much money did banks take from users just in overdraft fees? It's billions, right, every year. Where people are, I mean, you're literally taking money from people who don't have money, which is atrocious, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we can start to change that by offering the services that they would offer and slowly introducing people to cryptocurrency at the same time. And I think over time, people will start to get fed up with their banks, which we're already seeing, and start moving to these, I call them boutique banks,
Mhm.
smaller financial services companies that just are changing the game a little bit.
Mhm. Wow, that's a game changer. I mean, you're certainly leading in a trend of helping us to free ourselves from that sort of the old system. And it takes time. I mean, I take my hat off to Divi for attempting it, because it is a large entity that you're working against, I guess, or trying, or not against, but you're creating a new technology that's more efficient.
Yeah, we change from the inside. I
Right.
I am definitely, an anarchist in a sense, but
Mhm.
I don't believe anarchy has to be like this violent overthrow of government and central authority. I think that we can like take a hybrid approach to change, and over time, at the end of the day, people have the most power, right?
Mhm.
There's more of us than there are of them every single time, but it takes us moving collectively to make that change. Um, so if I can be a little bit of a part of that, then I'm happy to be, right.
One thought can change the world, and I truly understand that is a very much a possibility, and that's how it's probably anything has ever started, is with one thought. So I'm behind you. I support it. I mean, that thinking, that consciousness, it's time we do change things. Why can't we try, right?
I agree.
This is a window of opportunity. That's what I see in it, and an opportunity to create. And as humans, we are great creators. So collectively, like you say, if we have enough people, because you do need enough people, but with us, we do have the power. And having said that, we have to be on the same page to take
Yeah.
power. So one Divi at a time.
One divvy at a time, one person at a time. I just had the opportunity to go to Ohio for Chainwise, and it was amazing because you had. It reminded me of like the meetups I used to go to when I first got into crypto, and the conferences that I used to go to when I first got into it, where it was regular everyday people,
Mhm.
um, just getting together to learn and share ideas about why we're in crypto. I go to so many conferences now where it's like it's such high level stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and we're just like kind of speaking in an echo chamber to one another,
Yeah.
and it doesn't move the change at all.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, and trust me, like World CryptoCon is amazing, CIS is amazing. Like all of the conferences that we all go to are really fun and can be productive from a
Mm-hmm.
business standpoint. But at some point, we also need the outside world to start coming in and
Yeah.
learning about the stuff. And they're just not going to pay $1,200, $2,400 to learn.
Early though. I mean, given, you made a really good point saying that. And it's something I actually was thinking about just yesterday. I was thinking about all of what you just said. But we are early in it, and we are the people putting it together behind the scenes.
That's right.
And it's really, really important that we do it right and set that path and that road for those, non-coiners still out there, or the newbies, to find that road and come and join us.
That's right.
Together, collectively, this is where, and having us meet in these conferences, it would be great if we could collaborate. I think it feels like we're collaborating more and more. The groups are coming together more and more. The people in the space, like where I was at a distance a year ago, and even more so a year before that I feel like now I'm part of more of all of these, circles in the space behind the scenes, which is, anyway, this is how we build and create and exchange ideas. And
I agree.
it's happening.
What's that?
It's happening. I think
it definitely is.
Yeah.
It's quite exciting. And it's going to take time. I mean, if you look at the trajectory of like the internet, which of course everyone compares crypto to the internet era. I mean, the internet actually launched in 1970. Right? But when did you first get an AOL disc in the mail? Probably like 93, 96.
Right.
That was when it was starting to reach some level of critical mass. That's 20 years, right? Later, over 20 years later, that we finally started to see people at least trying it. And I think it's going to take a similar length of time, even though this industry moves incredibly fast. Already have the internet to help us with that. I still think it's going to take quite a bit of time before we start seeing blockchain discs in the mail, so to speak.
Yeah, but and perhaps maybe it will move along a little faster, given that we have to give ourselves some credit. We are a little bit more advanced than them. But it is how society moves, how the culture is moving, and how it's either what you want to call it programmed or what have you. But I think there's a deprogramming also excelling. So who knows what that's going to lead to. But yeah, it's interesting times for sure. So we shall.
I couldn't be more excited about it, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think you probably share that sentiment, right? I mean,
mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
You don't get probably really any chances in most lifetimes to be a part of something this massive. And I hope that we can show other people the way. But we need to, like you said, collaborate and band together.
Yeah.
And not work against each other. I think
yes.
it's way too early. I mean, healthy competition, sure, but it's way too early to be at each other's throats.
Right.
We've only seen, I mean, worldwide, there's probably 85% of people don't own any cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
That's a massive number, and that's
most of the world.
Most of the world, exactly.
Right.
To see any sort of critical mass, we need probably 25 to 30% of people adopting it.
Yeah.
And
also, this is not the internet stage. I mean, what's interesting is this is a new disruptive type of technologies. Whereas the internet, when it first came out, where it's different is that we are already on the internet. We are already in platforms. We are already savvy to the technology. We can communicate way quicker, way faster. Look at this interview we're doing. Like, this is brilliant. So we didn't have that when the internet started, but now we're in a position where we have all of this and can create a whole new, stage of life, right? So
Yeah,
that's to our advantage, in my opinion.
I know it truly is. And, but it is different than the internet, right? Because it's not, I think the benefit of the internet was a lot more clear to people. The applications of the internet were just like blockchain, pretty much endless. But it was easy to get businesses to adopt the internet because you could sell stuff online. You could connect remotely to your employees or employers. Things like that became really readily apparent. Whereas completely changing the status quo of finance
Right.
is much, much harder, because getting banks to adopt something that essentially obsoletes them is a little bit of a challenge, as we found.
It certainly is. But what a place for all of us to be in right now, and the energy and having these connections. We're in great times, and so I feel so fortunate as a human being to be able to be here to have a collective creation. That's how I see this. And
I'm glad you see it that way.
yeah,
I talk to so many people, and some people are just interested in crypto for, making money or what have
fame.
you.
That's another one. Fame.
Fame, exactly. There's always, I just tweeted about this yesterday, because I've been reading a lot about
Right.
collective action, and people actually will undermine the collective action just to serve themselves, or serve a small subset of the collective.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a conversation where the guy was like, maybe we don't need mass adoption. Maybe it should just be for 3% of the world, because then the opportunity is greater. And I'm like, oh.
It's the old thinking, and I see that too. That old thinking, they want to bring it into their new platforms of how they're going to either market or what have you, or exploit, and I'm thinking, no, you have the opportunity to completely change that and do a new way, and people want this.
Right.
Yeah, you can do it that way, but honestly, we're tired. We're tired of it. I think so.
Yeah,
So.
I think we know that we can all, like, you don't need $30 billion. No one does. Right. On a personal level, that's a massive amount of money that you'll never be able to spend 10 lifetimes.
Right.
What we need is better monetary policy that works for everyone, that allows everyone to succeed at some level. You can still be one of the top people without being domineering and destroying everything in your path. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
People can still, I think, I just read something, and I'm not sure if this is verified, but I read something that, like Jeff Bezos eliminated the healthcare from Whole Foods workers who were not full-time or something like that, or not management level. And I was like, really? Really? Because all he's trying to do is appease the shareholders of Amazon, right? Or of Whole Foods, whichever operation. And that way of thinking has to stop. And I think because cryptocurrency gives everyone the opportunity to be a stakeholder in whichever coin they decide to support, we all can succeed at the same time. Even if some people are more well off than others, everyone is still achieving some level of financial freedom.
Yes, and rightfully so, given in this high debt society and culture that we're in, and to have a decent life is to have 2 or 3 jobs to do.
Right.
This is not right. And what are we doing? What are we pushing? What are we moving? Right.
Right.
So I agree. Yeah, it's time for change. So let's attract that by creating this, and let's keep talking about that, because I do think it's what people want to hear. And if we can touch on that where it is where most people want to hear this, then we can grow on that. It takes one, like you say, that one thought, and grow on and expand on that. And something like this, to me, has a lot of power behind it. So
agreed.
you just planted a seed.
Yeah. it just, one at a time, and slowly but surely we will, I believe, get there.
Yeah.
As long as we keep sharing ideas and we don't give up. There's going to be times, I'm sure you felt this, like, since you got into crypto, like there's days where I'm just like, oh,
yeah,
this is so hard.
Yes. And it has to be. You have to have those challenges, right? Because it makes you go that much more and makes you think. And it's good. These are all good things. So, yeah. So let's see what else. We could talk about this forever. I'm sure there's so many different roads from there too. But anything else you want to add to about the Divi or what's on the roadmap?
Yeah, not necessarily. Definitely, of course, if you're watching this or listening to this, come check us out on our website, diviproject.org, and you can find us on social media at Divi Project.
And I'll post it too. I'll post some links down below.
Yeah, just join the conversation and participate in the network and see what it's all about. We have a lot of really awesome stuff coming up in the coming year, and we're really excited to start rolling certain things out. But yeah, I don't want to shill too much. I mean, we're out there. You can find info on us.
Okay, that's awesome. That's fantastic. I look forward to growing with Divi and using my node, and we can do this again down the road and see how things are going. So I really enjoy talking with you. It's nice to have this kind of conversation. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, me too. Anytime you want to chat, let me know.
Okay, that sounds awesome. And yeah, I hope your grandmother does really well. You were saying she's not doing so well. You're visiting grandma, and I think that's awesome. It's good to take care of family first. I'm having dinner with my kids tonight, and I can't wait. I'm so excited. So,
cool.
Yeah. Anyway, take care, Nick. And like I said, I will post the links down below. You're also on Twitter. Your Twitter handle is, you want to just say it?
Yeah, it's at NSAP Productions, NSAP Productions.
Okay, awesome. And yeah, take care. Nice chatting.
Yeah, you too.
Okay.